sets out the government strategy to guide reform to policy and regulatory frameworks, including the Refugee Act of 2021, the adoption of the Comprehensive Refugee Response Framework, the inclusion of refugees in county development plans, and their integration into public education, healthcare, and financial systems. It became obvious to us that containing refugees in camps, people who could, many of them could possibly have ideas, they are knowledgeable, people who could deploy their energy, expertise, and resource into the development of the country, was not the best way to relate with the refugees. And therefore, it became necessary for us to rethink the place of refugees in our society and contextualize it with host communities. As I speak to you, more than 70,000 refugees are enrolled for universal health coverage under the Social Health Insurance Fund, while IDs for refugees are recognized by the Integrated Population Registration System. Partnerships such as International Finance Corporation, Kenya Commercial Bank, and Swedish International Development Agency guarantees funds are catalyzed their financial inclusion and engagement in entrepreneurship and job creation. And I must thank these agencies for making it possible for refugees to be part of our financial system, and to thank the private sector, including our banks, for participating. Equally important, there is undeniable progress with respect to key enablers of inclusion, which include the recognition of the refugees' IDs in SIM card registration and banking, the development of refugees' database, which is interoperable with government systems, and strengthening local governance through the elevation of Dadaab and Kakuma Kalolbeye camps as communities into special municipalities. And these we have worked with governors from that region, and I must commend them and the leadership in those areas for making it possible for us to work as government in a manner that carries on board the thoughts, the concerns of host communities and the county governments in those areas. The concerns that have been raised are legitimate because these are concerns that have been experienced over many years. This plan attempts to respond to some of the concerns the communities have been experiencing or have raised over the years. It was untenable to continue the relationship the way it was, and therefore this plan attempts to rethink. And we think this plan is not just a Kenyan invention. Once we roll out with the support of all the partners that have been working with us, including the international community, and I'm very happy Filippo is here to put his sign of approval from the UN community, that we could look at this template as being the relationship going into the future with host communities and refugees, not just in Kenya, not just in our region, but also globally. This is not to say that we must make it, the norm for people to export others from their countries as refugees. I think that's not what we are saying. And in fact, as a country, we are deploying all the assets that we have to contain instability in different parts of our region. Just this morning, I have sent the Honorable Raila Odinga, our former Prime Minister, to South Sudan, because there is a situation that could lead to export of more refugees from that country unless it is contained. We are engaged currently on the situation in DRC. We have a robust conversation on containing the situation in Sudan. So we are doing what we can as Kenya, working with partners and regional mechanisms to see to it that we contain situations that could lead to people seeking asylum and leaving their countries because of instability and other challenges that countries face. So we are actively making sure that we do what we can to make sure that we have less and less refugees and asylum seekers by participating in interventions that help countries manage their affairs better. I must also say that as